Ryan. Today, guys, is March 23rd. Little late night vibe, but we're going to get right into the business. So, we have ICE at the airports, we have the dismantling of DEI, as well as we have an airplane casualty in LaGuardia. If you don't know, LaGuardia is in Queens, New York. LaGuardia is one of the most traveled airports in the country, and traveling right now, guys, I gotta be honest, seems pretty sketchy. A lot of people are unsure about what all of this really means, as well as the war in Iran. So in this video, you guys stay with me. I am going to cover some of these topics. Like I said, DEI, what's going on in LaGuardia in Queens, as well as ICE at the airports, as well as we have TSA agents on strike. And this just screams instability, So everyone wants to know what's going on, regardless of you're on the left or you're on the right. Everyone wants to get home safely. Everyone wants to feed their family. So this is really a crucial and pivotal moment. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to get into the topic.
We went down for a regular landing. We came in pretty hard. We immediately hit something, and it was just chaos from there. About 5 seconds later, we had come to a stop. But in that short period, I mean, everybody was hunkered down and everybody was screaming. Pretty quickly, we didn't have any directions because the pilot's cabin had been kind of destroyed. So somebody said, "Let's get the emergency exit and get the door in. Let's all jump out," and that's exactly what we did.
So that's a video from one of the passengers that was at LaGuardia at the time of the accident. And as you can see, he was pretty shaken up. They actually had a fatality and a casualty. They said that a vehicle hit one of the planes. It's just very chaotic right now, guys. Like, it's very scary. One of my loved ones, she just came back from Mexico City. Luckily, she was traveling south, but it's just scary. Like, you don't know if you're traveling overseas, if you're going to make it back safely. If you're at the airports, you don't know if things are being properly managed. And ironically, this same administration was talking about DEI and DEI being a problem. But when you're seeing things like these airport crashes and these other things, it's just very interesting. So I'm gonna play the video again.
We went down for a regular landing. We came in pretty hard. We immediately hit something, and it was just chaos from there. About 5 seconds later, we had come to a stop. But in that short period, I mean, everybody was hunkered down and everybody was screaming. Pretty quickly, we didn't have any directions because the pilot's cabin had been kind of destroyed. So somebody said, "Let's get the emergency exit and get the door in. Let's all jump out," and that's exactly what we did.
Now, this is what we're going to hit the streets and see what some of the people are actually saying.
We have already seen some of those ICE officers. As of now, they appear to be patrolling the lines outside of the checkpoints. This is the TSA pre-check line here at the airport. The folks that we have spoken with say that they've been in line for hours already, and they still have a ways to go before they make their way to and through the security checkpoint. Over the weekend, a high number of TSA officers called out already, the highest since the shutdown began. More than 400 officers said that they have quit altogether, compounding the staffing shortage.
The frustration is palpable at airports across the country.
Oh, it's moving kind of slow today.
From New York to New Orleans, where security lines snaked all the way into the parking lot.
Okay, guys, I'm not going to play the full video, but as you can see, it's a lot of instability in the United States right now. So many people are very upset. So many people are very angry. And they're angry because essentially American workers are being asked to work in harsh conditions. They're asked to essentially work for free. A lot of the TSA agents are asking for a raise. They're asking for better working conditions. And instead of these mega corporations paying the TSA workers who are asking for better working conditions, the workers are forced to strike. As a result, earlier today, March 23rd, we had a casualty at LaGuardia Airport where a plane crashed at the airport. So, guys, this has far-reaching consequences. This isn't anything to play with. And it's one thing to watch the news and hear people talk about DEI and about making America great again. And I think that we should make America great again. But I also think that we reaching a point where we gotta start asking some questions. So here's a little pushback if you find yourself thinking along the lines of what's really going on. And about a year ago, we was hearing all of this talk about the DEI and things going on at the airports, as if a pilot was a person of color, they were not qualified. And we seen that this administration said that they were going to attack DEI. The question that I would ask is, who benefits the most from DEI, right? And that's a very controversial topic. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but let's go into that. Let's go there.
To be clear, when the Trumpies attack DEI, they are not talking about meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They would all fail if it was a meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They want mediocrity, provided is white and male. Does anybody think for a second that Donald Trump, with the exact same resume of failure and bankruptcy and overt idiocy and assault and everything else, would be in the position of president if he wasn't a straight white male Protestant? I don't even think he'd make it if he was a Catholic. But if he wasn't a WASP male, would Trump have that job? Absolutely not. Would he have the job with exactly that same resume if he was a black man, or a black woman, or a Hispanic man, or a Hispanic woman, or a gay guy, or a lesbian, or an anything? No, he wouldn't. The attack on DEI is actually affirmative action for mediocre white men. You know it and I know. This TikTok is for entertaining.
So that's what a lot of the streets are saying. A lot of people are feeling like that. A lot of people are feeling that let me come on camera. A lot of people are feeling that. A lot of people are thinking like, hey, who is actually benefited from DEI? Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna play the video again when we get to this DEI topic for the people that's just joining the room.
To be clear, when the Trumpies attack DEI, they are not talking about meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They would all fail if it was a meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They want mediocrity, provided is white and male. Does anybody think for a second that Donald Trump, with the exact same resume of failure and bankruptcy and overt idiocy and assault and everything else, would be in the position of president if he wasn't a straight white male Protestant? I don't even think he'd make it if he was a Catholic. But wasn't a WASP male, would Trump have that job? Absolutely.
And I think that that's something that we all know. Let's just keep it 100. And it's not even a diss against President Trump, because I want our president to do a wonderful job. I want him to be successful, because unfortunately, even if you disagree with who's leading the country, they're still leading the country. But it's clear that it's not about meritocracy, because how do you judge when everyone has the same degrees, when everyone has the same skill level, right? So at that point, we're trying to find a way to hide institutional bias. Now, this is nothing new, but ironically, to answer one of the questions, and this could go into another broadcast of who actually benefits most from DEI, we all know that it's YT females. YT females benefit the most because their gender is considered a minority. So they're a minority because of their race, and then they're a minority because of their gender. And then if you got to think about if, old YT guys are running the country, the average age for American is 43 years old, right? So they are an older demographic. So if they have to share power, who they going to share power with? They're going to share power with the YT females. And I got to speak like that because you can't even speak openly on these sites without being punished or criticized. And a lot of people are asking these questions about what's going on. Like, make it make sense. It's not really making much sense. And I'm not the only one that's feeling this. Listen to what this person had to say.
My true reaction is stop the bull, run the country, and make everybody a part of it.
Hey guys, I'm reporting here at LaGuardia Airport in New York. Right outside the airport, I see this U.S. Customs and Border Protection car. I don't know exactly why it's here, but President Trump has said that he's hoping to deploy ICE agents to help with some of the chaos happening at TSA lines across the country. Take a listen to what some passengers here at LaGuardia had to say about that.
It sounds like a very bad idea. I'm just not really sure what ICE agents are trained to do, and certainly it's not TSA.
It's pretty unfortunate. If anything, it's going to make things worse, in my opinion. I think it's going to make things more stressful and hectic for people. And if anything, I just feel like it's just going to be like really uncomfortable for people to be here around.
It seems unnecessary, unrelated. Also, kind of seems like he's trying to push an agenda and through, a place where people are just trying to get from point A to point B.
I disagree with that. We have TSA. They shouldn't have to come in and do that. I don't agree with ICE at all anyways. They always seem like they're on like just a power trip and they just want to have control over things.
My reaction is enough is enough. ICE was not paid to come to the airport. Whatever they were paid to do, which I really don't know, let them do that, but they don't need to be here.
To be clear, when the Trumpies attack DEI, they are not talking about meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They would all fail if it was a meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They want mediocrity, provided is white and male. Does anybody think for a second that Donald Trump, with the exact same resume of failure and bankruptcy and overt idiocy and assault and everything else, would be in the position of president if he wasn't a straight white male Protestant? I don't even think he'd make it if he was a Catholic. But if he wasn't a WASP male, would Trump have that job? Absolutely.
And so here we are. We're in the situation, you guys, where if you're considered other than a YT male, you're going to have an opinion on this, right? Now, in the video that I just played, even people in the dominant society are sharing their viewpoints on this. Now, I like to ask questions. So a few questions I'm going to ask is, what role does ICE play at the airport? 2, has ICE been properly trained to handle the airports? This is a relevant question. Has ICE been properly trained to handle the airports? 3, where does that leave the TSA agents who have been trained to work at the airports? Guys, we can't live in a country where everything is skewed towards one demographic. It's just not going to work. Because if you start doing the numbers, even the YT males are a very small demographic. If you just put them in their own demographic, YT and male, they're a small demographic. Then if you start chopping it up to different belief systems, they're even a smaller demographic, right? So we're being controlled by a demographic that want things to be their way, and it doesn't matter how many people are pushing back on that. But I'm going to interrupt this broadcast with a quick commercial. So here we go. Hey, I'm your host, Brian from Across the Culture Wars. You can support me in 3 simple steps. 1, hitting a like is free. 2, subscribing is free. 3, Cash Apps and Patreon subscription. I really appreciate it. Link in the box. Okay. Well, 1 second. So, thank you guys for tuning in. So, we just want to get to the meat and potatoes of this, right? We want to know what's going on. So, in these changing demographics, I don't know if you know this, but projected by the year 2040, whites are going to be a minority in the United States. And I think that this has a huge impact on a lot of things, because I think that because they're going to be a minority is the reason that we see so many people in their demographic basically resort, I wouldn't say to just outright violence, but pushing back hard on the line, right? They're holding the line. Now, here's the thing. Here's the problem with the entire system, in my opinion. We have a few things that's going to make it very difficult for things to continue as they are. One, economics. Two, education. Three, relationships. Four, conflicts. Now, why are those four things, and I'm going to repeat them: education, economics, relationships, and conflicts? Why are those four things so challenging for this current demographic and these changing demographics? And what does DEI, ICE, and the larger situation of what happened at LaGuardia has to do with this? Well, I'm glad that you asked. Well, one of the things that is very difficult is that the cost of living is rising. So the cost of living is rising. The cost of education is rising, right? So this has an impact on relationships, and as we can see, it is creating more conflict. Some people will refer to conflicts as war, right? So we're seeing more conflicts. The people that's running the country right now, even like our last two presidents, are from a different era. They were both in their 70s when they were elected into office, right? I'm 30. So a person that's 70 running the country, they're not going to view the things as younger people, right? Because 30 years ago they were still doing their thing. So the world that we lived in currently is made by older generations. Older generations have shaped the world that we live in. And as a result, younger people are struggling. Now, how are they going to fix the problem? Well, they're not trying to fix the problem, in my opinion. They want to postpone the problem. So the system has already been created. We're already in the system, right? Welcome to the system. If you wasn't aware that you're in the matrix, welcome to the matrix, baby. So now we're in the situation where the system is how it is. How do they maintain it? Now, this is the problem that a lot of the people who could be suspected supremacists are experiencing. How do they maintain a system that is breaking, right? In their own groups, and I'm speaking to the suspected supremacists when I say this, um, they are in a situation where it's a lot of infighting going on. And as a result of it being a lot of infighting going on, they are confused about how to go about solving a problem, which, in my opinion, is oppressing everyone that's not a part of their group. So, going back to the cost of living has made it to where more people are postponing having children. And as a result of postponing having children, people in the dominant society they won't have the numbers that they had previously. Okay? So that's a huge problem. The average age for a person who's classified as white in this country is 43 years old. The average age of a person that's not classified as WHITE is about 30 years old. You see the difference? It's a big difference between being 43 and being 30. Okay. That's a 13-year gap. So people in the dominant society are not reproducing for whatever reason. Now, I think it has to do with the way that the system has been created, right? And I think that people in the dominant society have a choice to make. And I still believe that it's up to them to decide the direction that America goes into. Because I don't believe that because you are a certain skin color, that means that you hate people that's not a part of your group. I don't believe that. But I do believe the people who think like that have the most power. I repeat, I don't think that all of people who are classified as white think like that. But I do think the ones who think like that have the most power, right? And so they are suffering. People in the dominant society are struggling to pay their bills. People in the dominant society are struggling because they have raised the barrier to get certain jobs. So all of the non-white people have been forced to go to college, get these same jobs. So now it's like, okay, we have all of these people with the same degrees. We have all of these people with the same educational level. How do we hire among these pools without looking discriminatory? And this is the elephant in the room, right? And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but here's the problem. There in the future, there's nowhere you're going to be able to go without people talking about it. If you go on the internet, people are going to talk about it. If you pick up the newspaper, people are going to talk about it. And that's the problem. An additional problem, and this comes down to relationships and conflicts. It's impossible or nearly impossible to have harmonious relationships in the environment that these people have created. They have successfully created a very hostile environment. And as a result of creating a hostile environment, is having far-reaching consequences for generations. Now, that is either true or it's false. Now, when people say, what do I mean it's a hostile environment? When I mean that it's a hostile environment is that you have ICE agents working at the airport now. Is that not hostile? We just had what happened in Minnesota 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. And instead of de-escalating it, they are now sending them to more than 14 airports across the country, you guys. Basically, Gestapo force, right? And here's the problem. If you were silent about it, then they will say that you enjoy it. So I don't think ICE working at the airport is a good idea, personally. And I'm going to use my freedom of speech to say that. I don't think ICE working at the airports is a good idea in any capacity, you know? And essentially, what we're seeing before our eyes is the United States effectively becoming a police state. And this is what I mean, that the problems of the future is going to revolve around education, economics, relationships, and these types of conflicts. It's going to be increasingly impossible for people to have adequate education because the cost of living is going to be so high. Economics, people can't even afford housing right now. So that's leading to people not developing good relationships with one another. And as a result, birth rates are declining. So the baby boomers who inherited a certain world and then built a certain world, the last two presidents were baby boomers. They are still trying to shape policy, shape doctrine, shape political ideology. And they're making these rules for a world that they won't even inherit. I think that that's insane, in my opinion, as a young man. I think that it is absolutely absurd that we have people, whether they're a figurehead or not, that they have the ability to call shots and they won't even face the consequences like the younger people who have to live underneath this. Now, what are some solutions? I think younger people could vote. I think younger people have to learn how to vote in mass, vote, become a strong voting bloc, play the game, right? Pool money together, pool resources together. I think that the way things have been going, for as living in a culture of individualism, I don't think that that's going to work in the future. I don't believe that a person is just going to be able to say, I live alone, I have an apartment, or I have a small townhouse, and I live. The cost of living won't permit people to do that. So we're going to have to live more communally. We're going to have to learn how to establish networks where we work together in order to combat the things that we see. But people are so hostile and the environment is so hostile that is creating a dystopian like future for the entire country of the United States. And what's sad is, instead of producing justice, instead of making sure that everyone has food to eat, Everyone has equal opportunity. Some people have so much hatred for their fellow countrymen that they will rather suffer than share the planet, right? And many people are asking the same questions. It's like, hey, it's time for this stuff to end. You're going too far. You're doing too much. It's not a good idea, guys. ICE as TSA workers, and imagine the first day that they planned this, not saying that it's related, you had a plane crash at LaGuardia. Come on, guys. It's not working. And I gotta say this because read the room for everyone that's not a part of that movement. Read the room. The whole country is looking at you guys like, what are you guys are doing? Okay, and you can't blame anyone else. You got the majority in the House, majority in the Senate. You got everything in your favor. So, and that's another reason why I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm not Democrat or Republican because I look at both parties and I'm like, why won't you guys just do what's best for the general public? Why do you have to be Democrat or Republican? I am an American. Make America great again. If you shouldn't be, hey, I'm making America great again, but only for the Republicans. Hey, I'm going to do this, but only for the Democrats. Man, come on. It doesn't make sense. But we will see what happens. Welcome to the end of the world, you guys.
My true reaction is stop the bull, run the country, and make everybody a part of it.
Hey guys, I'm reporting here at LaGuardia Airport in New York. Right outside the airport, I see this U.S. Customs and Border Protection car. I don't know exactly why it's here, but President Trump has said that he's hoping to deploy ICE agents to help with some of the chaos happening at TSA lines across the country. Take a listen to what some passengers here at LaGuardia had to say about that.
It sounds like a very bad idea. I'm just not really sure what ICE agents are trained to do, and certainly it's not TSA.
It's pretty unfortunate. If anything, it's going to make things worse, in my opinion. I think it's going to make things more stressful and hectic for people. And if anything, I just feel like it's just going to be like really uncomfortable for people to be here around.
It seems unnecessary, unrelated. Also, kind of seems like he's trying to push an agenda.
This is what I'm talking about when I say read the room. Everyone is thinking this, or I'm not going to say everyone, a large part of the population is thinking this. ICE as TSA workers at the airport, the TSA workers are on strike. Instead of thinking about paying them, this is where I think that like we gotta be honest. And for these conversations, I would expect you to have watched part of the movie, right? Meaning like know a bit of history, right? If you know some history, then you can welcome to the conversation. Some of these conversations is going to be hard to have with certain people because we don't have time to do a 3-hour history lesson. But essentially, it seems as though this country wants people to work for free. And we fought a war over that, several wars over that. People are not going to work for free. It's just not going to work. Okay. And seemingly, that's what these corporations are wanting from people. They want people to essentially work for free. People can't afford housing. They can't afford college. Young people can't even afford on one job to pay all of their bills. More young people are living with their parents than ever before. We have baby boomers in consecutive elections, president of the United States, a bunch of old farts on the Supreme Court making decisions that's going to control older people. I mean, and younger people. But who are those? Who do you think that's going to benefit? Do you think it's going to benefit the young people in the country? Or do you think the laws that they're passing and the things that they're doing is going to benefit the older people? Now, how does that relate to race? How does this relate to race? Oh, I'm glad that you asked. Well, the average person classified as white is 43 years old in the country. Did you know? Google that. Google the average age of a person who classified as white in this country. It's 43. How many 43-year-old women you think are lining up to have babies? So this is the problem. Now we get into the birth rates. And what are they saying? Oh, wow, our birth rate is declining. Oh, I wonder why. Young people can't even pay their bills. They're working full time and giving all of their money back to the system. So they say, oh, you know what we can do? By golly, let's get rid of DEI. But guess who DEI benefits the most? Women that's in the dominant society. Man, like I said, you have to have a certain level of understanding to even get the nuance of this. Because if you just believe what they tell you and you don't see things from another person's perspective, I fear that you're going to be confused. And what one of my elders taught me is that if you don't understand racism, what it is, and how it functions, everything that you think you do understand will only confuse you. And most people are confused. Why are people confused? They're confused because they don't understand that they're in the race war. You were born in the race war. The race war was going on in 1492 when Christopher Columbus and these people came here, right? You were born in the race war, and it doesn't matter what skin color you are. All of us are in the race war. They named it race, and that dictates who gets resources and who do not get resources, unfortunately. So that leads to conversations about what? Jobs. Now, here's the problem. In the past, you didn't have to have a certain level of education to get certain privileges. Your skin color enabled you to get certain privileges. But what do we do now? When millions, not thousands, millions of people that are non-white have gone to college, have work experiences, have been doing the harder jobs. Who is really running the country? Let's be real. Who's really running the country? It can't be the people who the average age is 43 and the current president is 70 something years old. What work are they really doing? No, they get to benefit off the work of others. That's the whole game. And if you're not part of the demographic that's classified as white, what ends up happening is no matter what your level of education is, you end up working for these people. No matter what you do, your taxes and the money that you pay pays into the system that's going to oppress you. That's the system that we're in. And that is either true or it's false. Now, what can we do to correct this? Because I'm all about being proactive. Well, for one, we have to appeal to justice. And we have to ask the people that are captains of the ship to make some better decisions. Because unfortunately, we're all on the boat. And you guys are the captains, but you are going to sink the ship because you don't realize that we are all in this together.
To be clear, when the Trumpies attack DEI, they are not talking about meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They would all fail if it was a meritocracy. They don't want meritocracy. They want mediocrity, provided is white and male. Does anybody think for a second that Donald Trump, with the exact same resume of failure and bankruptcy and overt idiocy and assault and everything else, would be in the position of president if he wasn't a straight white male Protestant? I don't even think he'd make it if he was a Catholic. But if he wasn't a WASP male, would Trump have that job? Absolutely not. Would he have the job with exactly that same resume if he was a black man, or a black woman, or a Hispanic man, or a Hispanic woman, or a gay guy, or a lesbian, or an anything? No, he wouldn't. The attack on DEI is actually affirmative.
I have a question, and I'm a fair guy, right? So you can comment on this. Here's my question. What has racism done to improve the world? Let's just go there for a second. And if you don't want to use racism, let's say capitalism, right? Because capitalism is intrinsically entwined with racism. So let's just say capitalism. What has capitalism improved? What industries has improved from using capitalism as its base? Let's look at the fishing industry. Has Let's look at the oceans. Have the oceans declined or improved as a result of capitalism? Let's look at global warming. Has the ecosystems that we live in improved or declined due to capitalism? Let's look at human relations. Has human relations improved or regressed due to capitalism? I believe that one of the problems is the way that capitalism functions because things are finite. They're not infinite, right? So eventually you're going to run out of resources. That's the problem with capitalism. That is not, you don't have unending pool of resources. There's only so many fish in the sea. There's only so much oil in the earth. There's only so many fruit trees. There's only so many people you can exploit for the benefit of the few. So that's my position. Is capitalism a tool? Yes. Should it be the only tool in the toolbox? No. Okay. So I'm going to interrupt this message with a brief commercial. And I'll be right back. Hey, I'm your host, Brian from Across the Culture Wars. You can support me in 3 simple steps. 1, hitting a like is free. 2, subscribing is free. 3, Cash Apps and Patreon subscription. I really appreciate it. Link.
We went down for a regular landing. We came in pretty hard. We immediately hit something, and it was just chaos in there. About 5 seconds later, we had come to a stop, but in that short period, I mean, everybody was hunkered down and everybody was screaming. Pretty quickly, we didn't have any directions because the pilot's cabin had been kind of destroyed. So somebody said, let's get the emergency exit and get the door in. Let's all jump out, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, guys. So what we're seeing right now, guys, I believe we're seeing maybe the end of an empire. And I believe what's so sad about this is that we're coming up on what this year would be the 250th year of our nation. All right. And I'm privileged to talk about this because my ancestors have been in this country documented since before the Civil War. So my family has been here for the large part of the story of what made America America, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But here's the thing, and this is becoming increasingly clear. The people who pretend to be the most patriotic seemingly don't even care about the United States. The people that's running around here with all these American flags and stuff like that, do you think they really care about the United States? Meanwhile, they're taking all of our tax dollars and sending it to you know where. And Israel, right? They're sending all our money to Israel. And here's the thing. People are losing their ability to think critically. They have to be told what to think. It's crazy what's going on.
We have already seen some of those ICE officers. As of now, they appear to be patrolling the lines outside of the checkpoints. This is the TSA.
What are they doing there? What is ICE? I'm sorry. What does ICE have to do with the airport? The thing that I dislike most about this system is everything is the police with these people. Everything is the police with these people. For all of my people who've ever been in the trucking industry, for everybody that's ever been a nurse, You know what is for any whatever job you have. You know what it's like when the state comes to evaluate you, or you're being evaluated, or if you're in the trucking industry and you have DOT and you have police and state police. We just live in a police state. Whose idea was it to just have at this point, should we all just become the police? It's ridiculous. Now we have now it's bad enough you already had TSA at the airport. If you do anything at the airport, that's a federal crime already. I don't think people are itching to go to the airport to commit crimes, you guys. If you commit a crime at the airport, you're going to prison, federal prison, who have a 99.9% conviction rate. So the idea that we have to have ICE agents at the airport, but then again, what do they know that we don't know? Perhaps our administration, with this war going on, maybe they know something that none of us know. Who are they trying to keep out?
Pre-check line here at the airport. The folks that we have spoken with say that they've been in line for hours already, and they still have a ways to go before they make their way to and through the security checkpoint. Over the weekend, a high number of TSA officers called out already, the highest since the shutdown began. More than 400 officers said that they have quit altogether, compounding the staffing shortage.
The frustration is palpable at airports across the country.
Oh, it's moving kind of slow today.
From New York to New Orleans, where security lines snaked all the way into the parking lot. On Saturday,
Is this making America great again? You can't even travel. It's bad enough that travel is bad enough that it's cheaper to fly internationally than it is to fly domestic. It's cheaper, I repeat that, it's cheaper, guys, to fly out of the country than it is to fly within the territory of the United States. You know, it's just really crazy out here. It's absurd. A lot of people just don't really understand how crazy it is. I'm really sad. My heart goes out to everyone who was affected by what happened at LaGuardia today. It's unfortunate that our administration and the rules and the things that they're doing is really it's having real life consequences. That's the point that I'm trying to draw. This is real life, and they talk about people losing their lives as though it's nothing, and that's really disheartening. People lost their lives today at LaGuardia. Someone is not going to see their dad anymore. Someone's not going to see their mom anymore. You know, all because of the egos of a few people to prove a point. This is very sick, and I believe that we just become an apathic nation where we don't even have empathy for other citizens, for other human beings. And if you do say, hey, how about treating people with some humanity, you're looked at as a leftist. Meanwhile, I don't even vote Democrat. I'm just a human being that's like, look, I think the Republicans are goofy, meaning that I think that they make decisions that are counterproductive to the maintenance of the country. The Democrats do the same thing. At some point, guys, we got to sit back and say, wait, both parties are not really working to benefit us. They're working against us, right? Well, that's been my broadcast. Thank you guys for checking in. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm your host, Brian, from Across the Culture Wars. You can support me in 3 simple steps. 1, hitting the like is free. 2, subscribing is free. 3, Cash Apps and Patreon subscription. I really appreciate it. Link in the...
My true reaction is stop the bull, run the country, and make everybody a part of it.
Hey guys, I'm reporting here at LaGuardia Airport in New York. Right outside the airport, I see this U.S. Customs and Border Protection car. I don't know exactly why it's here, but President Trump has said that he's hoping to deploy ICE agents to help with some of the chaos happening at TSA lines across the country. Take a listen to what some passengers here at LaGuardia